Well, John, we've come to the last sale of the year. It's been a quick year. This is our 5th and 6th of December sale. And I have to say, I've been a long time in the business. This is one of the best sales I've ever put together, such a short space of time. Looking around here, obviously we're covering Pele, Raymond Coppa, Man United, Lonsdale Belts, Bobby Charlton, one of the oldest shirts in existence there, 1904. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I must confess, I'm a lot newer to the game than you are, but I mean, when I own the catalogue, when we do our proofing, just wall-to-wall quality has been a real pleasure. Not only being involved with it, but see the end product, yeah, incredible.
Yeah. So we're just going to, you and I are going to sort of shoot back and forward what's on the table here, just some highlights for the upcoming sale. And first off is the two helmets here. There's one near you, F1 Martin Brundle.
Yep.
Race used, we think Australia 1994. And again, come from a fabulous source, has all the right decals, all the correct sort of manufacturing badges as well, and there's one or two photographs of him wearing pretty much that helmet there. Okay. So yeah, and a wonderful thing. And you know, estimate-wise, £3,500 to £5,500. So
yeah, it always strikes me, doesn't sound to me for an item like that a lot of money. I mean, obviously, you've said before when we value these things, without any disrespect to Martin Brundle, world champion's a different level, but a fantastic driver. What a great personality as well. His commentaries are superb.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yes, of course, if he'd won world championships, of course, it'd be worth more. But even at that sort of level, I think it's a sort of real sort of, come and have a go sort of estimate. So
yeah, absolutely. It's fabulous, yeah.
And again, as I say, pretty much we can guarantee race used in 1994. Yeah. A wee bit earlier, Carl Fogarty over my side of the table here. This is sort of one of these sort of junior, so to speak, sort of, again, race used helmets, obviously being motorbikes for this time than F1 cars, but again has all this sort of information on it, the sort of correct decals, the safety markers on the back of the helmet as well. So he went on to do fantastic things. Carl Fogarty, yeah. So again, we'll sort of price this down a wee bit, so $1,500 to $2,000.
Okay.
Again, it's not anything to do with these world championships, but however, it's a sort of wonderful sort of early race used helmet again, so sort of real sort of great thing. Moving on, I think, obviously looking at the table here, the one that sort of stands out now, this is something you catalogued. Tell us about the Lonsdale belt right in the centre there.
Do you know what? I think it's one of them defining moments. We were working in the store and the client came in, the vendor, and you shouted me down and said, "Come look at this." And I remember being in the office, so the leather box being presented down there. It was the real Indiana Jones moment. The Raiders of the Lost Ark, they take the top off of the gold shines up at you. And we opened the lid, and there is it's not just a sporting piece. It's a work of art, isn't it? I mean, the gold that's in there, just the sheer workmanship, the inlays, each panel, the hallmarking. I mean, what amount of gold's in that, David?
Well, it's something hard to weigh exactly, but we think over 1,090 grams of 9-carat gold there. And of course, made by Mappin & Webb, one of the sort of foremost sort of
absolutely, yes.
And we've seen over the years, we've seen lots of examples of Lonsdale belts, silver gilt examples with the enamel badges there, but this pretty much, even the links in between are solid gold. So it's just a wonderful thing, and means a lot to me, won by a Glaswegian. So a man not far from where I grew up in Glasgow, presented to him. And you say you catalogue, so all the panels here are fully inscribed with what they were, what the matches were, what the games were, and of course in the centre Lord Lonsdale himself. So
the venues as well were fascinating. Hampden Park.
He was, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The crowds back then. So now he won this 1943. So obviously they presented it then, but unfortunately sold it just 13 years later.
Yeah, apparently he's been the same vendors for the Vendors family since 1956. Yeah, did you know he had receipts for what he actually sold it for?
Yeah, so he had it valued by Garrards and Company, obviously the Royal Jewellers, in 1956, and value then £615. Now we've done a bit of calculation today, so £615 in 1956 equates to about £18,500–19,000 today.
Wow.
So a huge amount of money. Yeah. 1956. Yes, you say bought by the vendor's father. It's remained in that family ever since, until obviously came to auction just a few weeks ago, and obviously delighted to have it. As I mentioned, it's a Scottish thing, Glaswegian thing, so absolutely wonderful.
But quite sad as well, just 13 years after winning it, that he's been in a position where he's felt need to sell it for financial reasons, Well,
I've both found that the sportsmen from the 1940s and 50s, they weren't well paid.
Yeah,
not like today's players, get me obviously many millions over a course of a year. He was just a prize fighter, won this wonderful Lonsdale belt, but had to sell it 13 years after being receiving it. So, and then obviously that amount of money in those days was a huge fortune for him. So obviously, at the time, and but it's found its way into that collection, and now coming on the market now for auction in December. So
privileged to catalogue.
That's a wonderful thing. It really is. And I say, by Map and Web, original fitted case, just all the bells and whistles, just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, cracking piece.
Yeah. And going on to iconic items, Australia very much in the news at the moment, winning the World Cup just the other day in the World Cup, the 50 overs, the baggy green cap near you, John. So an iconic thing.
Yeah, I never realised. I mean, again, every day for us is a learning day, but back then, I mean, that's for the anniversary. Sorry, the Coronation Tour, 53.
Yeah.
And one cap per season then.
So they got a cap per tour.
So
now they're given one cap. So the modern players you'll see today playing a test match, you'll see that the baggy green is absolutely sort of blitted. The stains, sweat stains, it's just gone. But back then they were given a cap per tour. So this was given to Ray Linwell, the famous
what a player,
for the Coronation Tour in 1953. And he had family in the UK, and before he went back to Australia, he gave it to a family member. So again, come right down the family provenance line in the sale. And I say we both agree it's a wonderful display piece. Just there on the mannequin there, but to an Aussie, it's just a sort of the holy grail.
Oh, it's the ultimate accolade, yeah.
Absolutely. Estimate wise for that, sort of £4,000 to £6,000. So again, not a huge amount of money for that sort of thing. So we have just moving on, we're sort of moving sports to football now. Obviously we discussed Ottorino Barassi, the Italian sports guru, I guess. He was a big name right to the very early days of Italian football, so much so helped organise the 1934 World Cup in Italy itself, sort of thing. So we have 32 lots of medals and awards presented to him by various world FIFA award organisations as well, including, which are just unbelievable to see, 5 World Cup winners' medals, including the 1934 and 1938, which we just don't see.
I'm right. I think you've never seen those, have you?
Never seen those before. Just utterly amazing. But the whole story about him as well. So, Ottorino, he had the foresight just before the Second World War. He took possession of the Jules Rimet Cup before the invasion, put it in a shoebox, sat with it under his bed for 12 years.
Wow.
So he had the Jules Rimet Cup in a shoebox under his bed for 12 years. And then after the war had finished, the first World Cup, of course, was in 1950.
Yeah.
He brought it back out again and couldn't believe that he'd actually kept it, stored it. No one knew. So obviously that was after that was there. Yeah. Kept it there. So he was just an absolute legend in the game.
Unbelievable.
And obviously wanted to be sort of in the FIFA organisation as well. So organised many tournaments. Here, as I mentioned, there's 5 World Cup winners' medals. 1934, 1938, jumping to 1950, the famous Pelé, as we know, sort of the youngster.
Sweden,
winning the World Cup. 1966, need I say any more? 1966. And
clearly not.
Absolutely. And then, of course, 1970, the famous Italy-Brazil. Brazil winning it 3 times. Obviously, after that, the cup changed. They got the Jules Rimet trophy to keep outright.
Yeah. And
the World Cup came in for 1974.
That represents a hell of a life in football, doesn't it?
Well, that's just 5 of the 32 medals, and I say that everyone is just as good as the other. And again, all the information is there. It's online. There's also a biog about him as well, so please do people go on and have a look. It's just amazing. Estimate-wise for these, we've kept it, again, sensible. £10,000 to £15,000 for each of these medals, working the scale down to sort of 2 to 3. So absolutely amazing stuff. So
I think as well, one of the first jobs we ever did together for Graham Budd was about a year ago at Wembley, and we had the 1/66 World Cup official medal, which was Harry Cavan's.
It was.
And I can remember you and I holding that. You seen him before and held him before. I hadn't. And you think at that point it doesn't get any better. Yeah, that's how much the auction's changed in a year. The you and I stood here now discussing not 1, not 2, 5, all from the same collection.
But not just that, but the rare hen's teeth 34 and 38, just unheard of. And again, we mention all the time, every chat we have, provenance coming right down the family. There's no issues with these. the designs and, just beautiful designs in the back of the medals as well.
Were they the shoebox?
They weren't the shoebox, no, they were in a private collection, but just wonderful to see. And I see what a wonderful collection. When it came in, this was Graham, our chairman, had got note of this collection, and it was just wonderful.
Fantastic.
You obviously with the belt, yes, we both agree. When I saw this stuff,
special,
amazing, honestly, absolutely fantastic, and real sort of parts of the show. Something not at the table here is ladies football. Obviously, again, we've been championing the sport this year with really some wonderful collections going through. I've been doing extremely well, and we've been offered selling the 2023 World Cup final Matthews ball for ladies in Australia, Lionesses versus the Spanish side. Sadly, we lost 1-0. But we have the match ball again. The same as the ball we sold before.
The Coca-Cola competition.
This was Coca-Cola, yeah. Of course, the other one was the men's was Adidas. Thing. So with all the provenance details as well, the match ball used in the game. Ladies, I said sadly lost 1-0. So that's online, not here at the moment. It's overseas just now, but coming in at £20,000 to £30,000.
Hey, you know what? It's a great example. We often talk about buying football being a memorabilia, being an investment for the future. The growth that we've seen in the last year, not only the women's game, but in interest in memorabilia and ephemera for the women's game. The reserve on that is how much?
So 20,000.
Yeah, it's got to be a great investment now for the future.
No question about it. Yeah. Again, we're always asked, what's the next big thing? And without doubt, ladies football.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Agreed, yeah.
We don't get enough of it at the moment. We're wanting more. So if there is good stuff out there, by all means, get in touch with us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Through sale. So going from that to a French legend, Raymond Copper, right at the front here. Again, every sort of podcast that we do or chat, we talk about vintage tracksuit tops. Yeah. And as soon as we saw this one again, oh wow. So the back of that tracksuit, there's inscribed Copper on the back, but just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And this comes on, we've got sort of 49 lots of the Raymond Copper collection here.
Okay. Come
from a private source, but sold initially by Raymond back 2001 from memory. So again, medals, shirts, awards, and again, some wonderful, and here we go.
Once again, yeah, incredible.
3 European Cup winners medals. He played in the first 5 finals. First one, 1956, he lost. He played with Stade Reims, transferred to Real Madrid, and won the next 3. And here's 3 of the wonderful medals here, 1957, 58, and 59. Look at them, just wonderful.
They're legend, aren't they?
The gold enamel, they just absolutely sparkle there, and just linked to such a legend in the game.
Wow, yeah.
And again, these are coming in at sort of £14,000 to £18,000 because of the players' medal, because obviously the European Cup winners' medal.
Yeah.
Also, so absolutely fantastic. But again, it's just, that just looks amazing, doesn't it? The shirt on the table, the tracksuit top on there.
But again, it goes back to that kid in the sweet shop feeling how he's get. You realise how privileged you are in the industry that we work in. It's only talk about these things, but to see them, to handle them, to value them, it's just, I never thought 30 years ago I'd stand here looking at a collection like that. It's the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
Basically, absolutely. Yeah. Just fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember first time around, not so long I'm in this game for going to, it was Mulligan Madley at the time, and then obviously subsequent bits from there. But to see coming around again, it's just absolutely
fabulous.
Absolutely. Moving on, let's go English this time, and I suppose just Stanley Matthews, the cap leader, you, John.
Yeah. Fascinates me. These post-war caps, they're all different in their own way, but the design always seems a little bit more basic post-war. Whether it's intentionally a steer or whatever, I'm never 100% sure. But you think they're a wonderful thing. And of course, Matthews, the wizard of dribble himself, but also England versus Scotland. Yeah? 48.9, yeah.
But wonderful thing. But again, we've seen the last sort of year, sort of 18 months, this stuff's going through the roof again. It's climbing up again. We've had lots of caps, we've had shirts. Last year with a shirt making £20,000.
Well, the last thing was, the names that are absolutely, they're never going to die. In footballing terms, you get a young football fan today will instinctively know Stanley Matthews.
Yeah.
And quite rightly so. I'm going to touch on a few other players of that genre a bit later, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, that cap coming in, there's a small section of Stanley Matthews in the sale. There's that cap, another couple of medals, and a few awards given to him. The cap at the moment, £3,000 to £5,000. So,
okay.
Just a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And I guess, moving on from there, Billy Wright, the absolute legend, 1940s and 50s, Wolves, England captain. And we have the privilege of having 6 lots in the sale coming up. And I guess the start of the show, start of the sale, I think, would be this wonderful silver salver.
Incredible thing, yeah.
He was the first international player to make 100 appearances for his country. Unheard of then, all through that period, the sort of, those heavy balls, etc., and so on and so forth. But there we go. Beautifully presented, again, with the enamel flags of the countries he played against all round the salver here. And of course, the big 3-line badge right in the centre. A wonderful thing. And, by all accounts, a wonderful man. I had the great privilege of selling the first lot of Bright Collection in 1994. So I've known this 30 plus years.
Wow.
I've known about the salver and a few bits left over there. So it's been an absolute pleasure to see it again, and it sort of completes the circle for me, so to speak, about the Bright Collection. Estimate for that, again, we'll get in sort of £30,000 to £50,000. I'm worth every single
And quite rightly. So I always, the thing I always get with Billy Ryan, I mean, he would almost respect the first pop star footballer almost.
Well, him and Joy, absolutely. The Beverly sisters, the Posh and Becks of the day, absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess Posh and Becks are the Billy and Joy.
Joy of the day, yeah.
But I mean, this is something we can say quite happily is unique. It's the first ever silver salver for the first ever player to make 100 appearances for his country, and that's that. I mean, that's what it represents. Can you imagine on that evening against Scotland, after I think before the game, he could be presented with that silver salver. Yeah. Just unbelievable.
And it shows only 100 caps, but the absolute esteem the man was held in by football in general. I mean, it's
absolutely. Again, we've done a big footnote on him in the catalogue, just all about his achievements. But yes, an absolute gentleman.
Yeah, true legend.
Yeah, completely. And then just a few bits after that, and again, Billy Wright, 2 years international caps, again, similar to the Stanley Matthews just there. That's Holland 46, 47. So
that's stunning as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he'd been put away, and then a home championship cap there. Just next to you, John, is a match-worn shirt from the Continental Tour, 1955. They played France, Spain, and Portugal.
Portugal, yeah.
Yeah, in that order, and this is one of those shirts. Now, again, we try to always sort of better ourselves in terms of knowledge of shirts now. Okay, we assume at that point it would be Bukta, Umbro, etc. But it's not. This is actually a playwright shirt.
Okay.
Which is a sort of another manufacturer, again. And it's almost like the material is almost like a crepe bandage type material. It's almost like figure hugging material. And again, a wonderful number 5 on the back.
Black number 5, yeah.
The black 5 on the back, yeah. So that came through via the Right Collection. And it's just great to have it. And just by chance, let's use the next email, we got information about this shirt here. And I'll just sort of walk round.
Be careful there.
Indeed. So this came in as a match-worn Duncan Edwards.
Right.
Duncan Edwards, Busby Babe,
Yeah.
This was his second international against France in 1955. So basically it relates to that shirt there. But look at the difference in designs.
So he's sort of 18 years old there, isn't he?
18 years old, absolutely, at the time. And of course, he was just destined to be. But unfortunately, we know the story of sad about Duncan Edwards. But again, we weren't sure because obviously there's no badge in this shirt. And the number is different as well. I mean, the number is
plain, isn't it? Really,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a strange looking number as well. But, the first thing we thought, of course, that's been sun bleached.
It looks so basic.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's obviously been in the sun. So obviously that's bleached the number. It should have been as dark as the one you've got over there.
Do you want me to turn this one for you?
No, you're fine. I think just sort of there as I bring it right. But again, so obviously we did a research on this. And it turns out that, information that we gathered that, in fact, it is a match-worn shirt from the second half of the France game in 1955.
Oh, they changed.
Absolutely. So they started the game wearing that shirt next to you there,
right,
with the badge, etc. However, the conditions that day were such that they wanted to change at half-time. So then they went and came out in the second half wearing training shirts.
Wow.
So this is a plain, as you like, no manufacturer's details, a plain training shirt, but worn by Duncan Edwards in the second half of the match against France.
And you always think that's a very modern concept, change your shirt at half-time, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously just then they decided to do that sort of thing. So, and this comes with actually a sort of a letter of provenance from the French player to swap with at the end of the game to say that he couldn't believe the quality of this 18-year-old player and delighted to swap shirts. So
it was a good job.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, at the moment, anything United, as we know at the moment, is just going absolutely through the roof. So, this one we put in Duncan Edwards, second half, match-worn shirt against France, £10,000 to £15,000. So.
And of course, once again, a huge Black Country connection between the two.
And both of them as well. But also, as mentioned at the start there, expands our knowledge of shirts. So now we know and go back and we come to say that, you know, we make a valuation for this shirt saying that's possibly the second half of the continental tour. So now we know things incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah, really is.
It really expands our knowledge of the shirt market, absolutely. Now, we sat at the pub not too long ago, one evening.
Not like us.
Not like us. And you get an email.
Yeah, well, it was a WhatsApp, actually, but you're on the right lines. A friend of my wife used to work with them and inherited an amount of football memorabilia from a member of the family. We said, yeah, we'd love to see what you got. And the first photograph through was this. Well documented my allegiance in the Steel City. I'm a Blade through and through, but, you know, I'm a lover of football and a lover of Sheffield being the home of football in many, many ways. And you know what? To see either of the senior club shirts from that era is a rare and wonderful thing. It ticks every box for me. It was worn by a player called Joe Riles. Riles didn't really make that many first-team appearances for Wednesday, but went on to have an incredible career with Brentford, Forest. He had a good footballing life, but made a number of first-team appearances and quite a few reserve. And this is from his last season, or second to last season, we think. Highly unusual because, as we know, shirts were recycled by then. Players seldom kept shirts, and that's really why you don't see a lot of them. We always knew that between the two Sheffield clubs, the kit then would have been manufactured by a local department store called Cole Brothers, who many years later were bought out by John Lewis. But I've never seen one. So to actually hold the shirt, unwrap it, see the red label in the collar, Cole Brothers, incredible. Very, very straightforward design, what we call a classic nightshirt design almost. You've got the iconic blue and white stripes, front pocket, long sleeved. Interestingly, signed in ink on the inside by a player called Percy Crawshaw. Now, one of the all-time great Wednesday players is Tommy Crawshaw, without a doubt. Percy was his brother, also a Wednesday player, not in the same league as his brother, I hasten to add, without any disrespect. But playing in the reserves around the same time as Riles. So quite how Joe came to keep the shirt is only home to debate. As we've said many times, there's nobody around now who saw them play. But we've done a diligence on the shirt. We've researched photographs of the era, the reserve teams, the first teams, and we're more than happy with its provenance. The other really interesting part about it is the small number 4 sewn to the front, which, again, I've seen sizes done like that back in the day. Is it a squad that we don't know, but... And just a wonderful, wonderful piece. 1904-05 season. It's the earliest Sheffield club shirt I've ever seen.
Wow.
Or held. I've certainly not seen a Sheffield United one as old as that in the flesh. And we've got an estimate on there at £7,000 to £10,000. But, you know, I really genuinely hope that goes back to the city because it deserves to be there. It's such a rare part of our footballing past. Fantastic, and again, a privilege to handle that.
Well, absolutely, and of course we have a bit of history with that. Obviously, the Middlesbrough we sold as well this year, even the earlier one than that again. So you know, we know these shirts do exist, and they're coming out more often than not to 2 in 1 year.
Yeah.
So
we know they've got to be out there, not in great numbers, but they've got to be out there. So just to find something else of that vintage is incredible.
And again, I think you mentioned the condition. We're 120 plus years old. It's not bad, is it?
No, there's been a couple of very, very minor repairs on it, and I think there's just a little bit of rusting perhaps at some point. Joe had a pub, ironically for a Wednesday player, on Bramall Lane in Sheffield near the Blades ground. But I would imagine it's been on display at some point, it's been folded, but that doesn't actually deter from it. It actually adds to it. There's a bit more patina to it, if you want to be. Just really, it ticks every box as a football shirt. It's fabulous.
Let's love it. No,
yeah.
It's the earliest thing in the seal, absolutely. And I think sort of rounding up here, you obviously can't fail to miss, you know, the sad news about Sir Bobby Charlton passing away just recently.
Yeah.
You know, and this wonderful red shirt here, just to my left, against Portugal, 1964, red, 3-line badge. Just amazing, isn't it, really? And we saw it coming through. Yeah. We almost thought it was a sort of replica because of the quality of it. But obviously, it's been taken off, swapped by the Portuguese player, and kept ever since. So, and this is just wonderful. You know, as I say, it's iconic number 11, and it runs a wee sort of section again of United memorabilia. Obviously, not including Duncan Edwards, but he obviously we've got Bobby Charlton. Estimate again for that £10,000 to £15,000. So, But again, it's one of those sort of early shots. Buckter as well, so another sort of manufacturer people seem to love.
Yeah, I think that's England were in Buckter of that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, just condition of that. And sort of down on the table here, we've got David Herd's, again, vintage, 1968, Man United European Cup final. Never played, never got to the final.
Yeah.
But I was presented with the tracksuit top, and just look at that, just absolutely.
Exactly what he says on the tin there.
Basically,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then two other, again, sort of famous number 7s. You've got Beckham's boots here from his 100th appearance now. We're not suggesting for a second they're match worn, but they're come from that. They relate to that particular game. Could have been a spare pair, but they're in the front of the table there. Again, all properly inscribed with children's names. Yeah, you were there, sort of thing. So they presented with those. And then just near you, George Best. His blazer, 1960, again, European Cup final. That's his pre-match blazer.
Incredible.
Isn't it?
So Wembley 68, on the coach down to play Benfica. That's on the grey man's bike.
It's just wonderful.
Fabulous. What a night.
Again, and value for that, we've put in £10,000 to £15,000. So
incredible.
You know, it's just, we do have, it's a table of dreams. And we mentioned right at the start of this piece that, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure to catalogue it. And we do sort of thoroughly sort of recommend go to the website, greenbudauctions.co.uk, and see all the stuff, all the catalogue text, all the estimates, and the other 1,170 lots in the sale.
I know people have as much fun reading it as we did putting it together. It's incredible.
That's fantastic. Thanks, John, for your input.